everybody, welcome back to another SUPboarder video. I hope you're keeping safe and well, and if you're out on the water, you are getting out paddling as much as you can. A lot of you are still asking about paddleboards and which paddleboards to get, and this paddleboard might tick a few boxes for a lot of you out there. It's a very competitive price paddleboard at £349. It's from a UK based company called Sandbanks Style. It is a 10.4 by 32 and it's a 4.75-inch thick board, so it's not a 6-inch thick board, so it will offer a bit better performance for the lighter and moderate weight paddlers. The volume is 243 litres. When we weighed it, it weighs 9.86 kilograms, which is 21.12 pounds, and it comes as a complete package with a paddle, a decent Bravo pump and a backpack at £349. The construction of the board, it's got a good quality internal drop stitch core, then it's got a double skinned fused laminate layer outside of that. Basically the fused layer is where they, instead of sticking two layers of PVC together, they sort of melt them into one. So you have a thicker layer of PVC that's wrapping around the outer shell of the board, but obviously it reduces the weight because you've taken out the glue process as well. So that's the specifications of the board. Now let's go over our SUPboarder thoughts. Now remember, we're doing our videos a little bit different now when it comes to standalone iSUP reviews. We're going to go over the bag, what it's like to carry, what it's like to inflate, using the board on the water, then deflating it, rolling it up. Really the process that you would be doing when you go paddleboarding. So first off, looking at the bag you get. So the bag you get is a big bag that's very easy to get the board in. It's got nice zip entry down the side, it's got pull string top entry, so you can sit your board in nice and easy. It is easy to get your board in and to just pack it up. Even if you're not rolling up your board the right size, the board does go in nice and comfortably. The material is pretty heavy duty. You've got sort of drainage holes at the bottom here to let any water out. So obviously it's not a dry bag. If you put it in the back of your car, you are going to get water coming out the bag. The zips and the clips all look a good quality, but it is a stripped back bag. But to be honest, you're going to expect for that for the price point. So there's very limited padding around the back area. You have got padded shoulder straps. The shoulder straps do fit you okay, and you can walk moderate distances with this bag, but obviously it's not going to be as comfortable as the more expensive bags that are on the market, but it is adequate, especially at the price point. When it comes to the inflation process, well, it's a very simple board to inflate. For a start, it comes with a good quality Bravo pump, which easily gets the PSI into the board. It's got an inflation valve at the back there. You just unroll your board, pump it up, very straightforward. It's a double action pump, so basically it pumps on the upstroke and the downstroke, and then you can switch it over to just pump on the downstroke. As I said, this is a Bravo pump, so any Bravo product's a good quality product, and you know it's going to get the air into the board. This board takes a recommended PSI of 20 PSI, but it has a maximum pressure of 25 PSI, which really shows the build quality of this board. And this pump can easily inflate your board up to that pressure. Obviously, if you're a lighter person, you might not need to go to that 20 PSI, so 15 PSI would be absolutely fine. But for when we tested it and when we used it, we did use it to the recommended 20 PSI. The fin system is a really traditional slide-in fin system. You see this on a lot of brands. It's very easy to use, and you can find replacement fins pretty much all around the world for this. It's a very basic fin, but it's going to be absolutely adequate for this board. It's going to get you going in a straight line, and it's nice and easy to use, and it's pretty strong, so if the kids stand on it, they're probably not going to snap it unless they really try. The leash you get with the package is a black coiled leash, non-logoed up. Seems like a good quality leash. We've seen this style leash with much more expensive brands. Clips on the back of the board, they're nice and easy to use, all that, so that's not a problem. Other fittings that you have on the board, you've got a padded carry handle in the middle of the board. It's nicely placed in the middle of the board, so the board isn't off balance when you're carrying it to the water, and you could carry that also moderate distances with that padded carry handle. And also at 4.75 inches thick, this board is easier to carry to the water because you haven't got such a big board under your arm when you're carrying it. So that is definitely something to be aware about if you're a lighter or a smaller paddler. Other features you've got with your board, you've got bungees up at the front there. Bungee system's a good size and it's nicely finished off. It's all sort of heat shrink together. You can get a decent dry bag in there, flip-flops, drinks, etc., stuff like that. Otherwise, you've got an EVA, large EVA deck pad going right throughout most of the board. You've got a nice tail kick pad at the back of the board, which we always love at SUPboarder, which are great for when you're doing your step back turns, or maybe you're trying a little bit of surfing. Just to know where your back foot is, having that raised EVA pad really does make a difference. Also, they have got kayak sort of seat attachment rings that you can have that are on here as well. It doesn't come with a kayak seat because this is a stand-up paddleboard, but they can offer, and they do offer, a kayak seat that you can buy and clip on as well. So it does give it a little bit more usability, and sometimes at these price point boards we do see these sort of kayak seat attachments on, because they are sort of acknowledging that maybe a family but might want to use this board for multi-use, so they have put that on there as well. Before we talk about what the board's like to paddle on the water, let's talk about how stiff this board was, which means we're talking about our deflection test. Our deflection test is where we put all inflatable paddle boards on a gap of 1.5 meters apart, and we put a weight of 75 kilograms in the center of the board, and then we measure how much the board drops. Now this is pumped up to 20 psi, but it's a 4.75 inch thick board. It dropped 17 millimeters. Now that's actually a fairly stiff board. Now we get a lot of boards around the sort of 15, 16, 18 millimeters in drop, but most of them are 6-inch thick boards. Now, quick recap: the thicker the board is, the easier it is to keep its stiffness. So this board is having to work harder at 4.75 inches to keep that stiffness. Being 4.75 inches thick, it does give you a more of a connected feel to the water. I personally really like paddling the thinner base boards opposed to the thicker base boards. Thicker boards, yes, they give you a little bit more stiffness possibly, but you are higher off the water, you get a bit more windage, the chop can affect the side of the board a bit more, and for a moderate to lighter weight person, you don't really need that extra stiffness. So a thinner baseboard does give you a better, more comfortable riding experience. Unlike other all-round inflatable paddleboards in the market, this has a more pulled-in, pointier nose. Now, having that opposed to a more rounded nose it does make it a little bit easier and quicker to paddle. A bit more glide, a bit more get up and go in one direction with less paddle strokes. Having a more rounded nose on a paddleboard does give you more stability, but because this board has quite a lot of width, quite far back, and a nice square tail, it does counteract that by having more stability at the back of the board. So I wouldn't say this board is an unstable board to paddle. Also, having the square tail at the back does make it a little bit quicker. It releases the water a little bit better. So it's generally a very fast, smooth board to paddle that's comfortable just for doing all-round paddling, and I wouldn't say it's any harder to use than any other board on the market. Because of the fin setups underneath with its two mini side fins and its slide-in middle fin, it does offer good straight line tracking. It's very easy to paddle in a straight line, and again, the square tail does help that a little bit as well. When you're getting back to maybe learning to do your step back turns, you've got a nice big wide area back here, your kick pad's really well placed, so you have got a lot of stability when you go into your turns. When it comes to actually paddling and moving your board forward, really it all comes down to you and the paddle to put the power in there. With the package, you get a basic aluminium 3-piece adjustable paddle. It's going to suit the whole family, lots of sizes there, easy to fix in and adjust, and it doesn't twist or move. It's not the lightest of paddles on the market, and it's not the most performance shape paddle on the market. It's got quite a cupped shape, a basic paddle shape we would say. There you can see the scoop in the paddle. Again, it's the sort of paddle we'd expect at this price point. It's adequate, it's going to get you on the water, but if you are looking to upgrade it, Sandbanks Style do offer lots of upgrade packages so you can get yourself a better quality paddle. Definitely if you're more committed or you think you're going to paddle more than 4 or 5 times a year, really I would strongly recommend just upgrading your paddle straight away. This paddle will do the job, and the family are going to be able to get lots of fun out of it without a doubt, but upgrading your paddle would be a good option if you're more committed to the sport. So who could use this paddleboard? Weight range, ability, and what you can use it for. Well, using it for, you could do a bit of everything with it. You could do a bit of cruising, a bit of flat water, you could do maybe a bit of touring, go around the corner. You could even do a one-nighter with this board if you weren't taking very much equipment. And obviously you could take it for a bit of surf because it's not too big for that as well. Paddlers, it would take probably up to 90 kilograms, I would say, with the actual size of the board. Bear in mind, when you're getting near the 90 kilos, 88 kilos plus, that's maybe where you want a slightly stiffer board. That's maybe where you're going to be wanting that bit more thickness to give you a bit more stiffness. Optimum weights, I would say up to 80 kilograms would be comfortable, really comfortable on this, and obviously down 60, 50 kilograms, absolutely fine on this board as well. Ability, you can definitely get on this as a first-time paddleboard, never paddleboarded before. This is the sort of board that you would start off with, but if you are the heavier person, 88, 85 plus kilos, having the wider base boards, 34 wide, will give you that bit more stability. So this is really the optimum size board for first-time paddleboards of sub 80 kilos really. When it comes to deflation and packing up, this board is super quick and easy. You can just slip the fin out of the back, deflate the main valve there, roll the board up from the nose to the tail, and actually the fin box, because it's slightly flexible, rolls the board up nice and tight. I personally just wrap the leash right around the board and then it fits in the bag real easy because the bag is pretty big. And then getting the bag comfortable on your back, yeah, it requires a little bit because you want to make sure the two side fins aren't jabbing in your back. It's easy enough to move around and get yourself comfortable for the walk back to the car park or maybe even your house. So now let's talk about the brand, the warranty, the environmental awareness of this product, and the pros and cons, and finishing off with the summary. So the brand itself, Sandbanks SUP Style, have been going for a few years now. They're a family-run business. They're very much based in the UK, but I'm sure that they will do international shipping. Definitely, they are hitting a very competitive price point through all of their boards. Warranties for these boards, they do offer 3-year warranties as standard with these boards, but you can upgrade for an extra 5-year warranty if you want to. 3 years is a fairly long time when it comes to an inflatable paddleboard. Generally, if something's going to go wrong, it's had a lot of time in the sun, it's had a lot of things that could have come out in that 3-year span. So 3 years is a good warranty time frame for these boards. So now let's look at the environmental side of this board. So remember, we're doing this with all our standalone SUP reviews now. We're looking at how they're packaged, what sort of materials they've got on the boards, to just make you aware and also make the brands and encourage them to go more environmentally friendly into the future. This board is packed up as most SUPs are packed up at the moment. There isn't any paper or anything, it's plastic and rolled up. It does come in a cardboard box, obviously, which you can recycle. There isn't any materials in or on this board that we are aware of that have come from recyclable materials. It's definitely hard to make a good quality board at a very competitive price point like this is and have the environment in mind a lot. I know Sandbanks SUP Style will be looking towards more of the environment in the future, but at the moment they haven't got that much environmental awareness. But differently, they do offer a percentage of their sales to charities, so they are giving back to the community by offering charities, cancer research charities, youth charities. There's lots of charities on their website, so have a look for more information if you're interested about that. So finishing off with pros and cons and value for money. Well, pros is obviously going to be value for money in there. It is a very cheap price point package. The package as well does seem to be good quality. There isn't any sort of stray glue marks. The board itself seems to be well made. All of the eyelets and the handles seem to be very well stuck on, and the EVA deck pad seems to be all cut in and nicely finished off. So the quality of the product really does stand up, especially for the price point. The overall outline, shape and the design of the board is great for all-round paddling. Definitely having this board at 4.75 inches thick at the price point is a very good move. It's going to get a lot of mid-weight to lightweight paddlers into the sport, and as I said, there isn't that many boards at that cheap price point at that thickness, so it is sitting at a really comfortable place in the market. Cons to the board, well, when you buy a board at £350, there is got to be a compromise, and for us really the compromise is really around the styling and the sort of final touches you get with more expensive boards. This board is absolutely adequate, and if you shut your eyes, you're going to be able to paddle around and you will not know the difference between this board and a more expensive board. But when it comes to the finishing touches, maybe the bag, the logoing, the graphics, the styling, with your more expensive boards you do get a bit more refinement. Now that is a personal opinion and a personal choice whether you want to pay more for something that looks a bit more special, but the board itself cannot be faulted on its construction and its size and its value of price point. So in summary, the Sandbanks SUP Style Elite is an incredibly well-priced paddleboard that is going to get a lot of people paddling. It isn't as stylish and as crisp as the more expensive boards, but if you are looking to get on the water for a really reasonable price point this year, then this Elite is going to suit many paddlers weighing 50 to 85 kilograms. Hope you found that video interesting and informative. Give it a like if you liked it. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already. Check out SUPboarder Mag for more SUP stuff, and obviously check out SUPboarder Pro, which is the next level of SUPboarder content. Thank you very much. We'll see you next time.